Miles, thanks for getting together with me this afternoon and allowing
Sure.
us to videotape this. I really, appreciate our relationship, but wanted to spend a few minutes remembering and talking a little bit about the experience when you were in foster care. And I know that that can be difficult sometimes, but appreciate you spending some time with me. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about your life in foster care and how you felt, especially when it came to court before I became your lawyer.
Well, foster care was a really big struggle for me, as it is with most children in general. It was a very huge battle of um, self-importance and freedom. Whenever I had to go to court constantly, it was very hard to feel important as I was very hushed during these meetings. I would have someone speaking for me rather than me being able to have a voice. So whenever I would go to court, it would be a lot of other people deciding on how it's going to affect and live my life, rather than them listening to me and being able to have my voice join that record on what I feel like I might need myself. Um, that changed, unfortunately, when I started getting into a bit of trouble. If you don't remember how we met,
Oh yeah, I'm unfortunately, yeah, you're right. It
yeah.
was an unfortunate set of circumstances. At the time, I was just taking a few foster children to represent every year because I was a professor at a law school, and we had shut down representation for that period of time and weren't taking any new cases. And one of the lawyers for the Department of Children and Families really sort of begged me to take your case, even though we were shut down and weren't taking any new
Right.
cases. And I'm so glad that he did because we've had a wonderful relationship. But the unfortunate circumstance, if I remember it correctly, was that you got picked up a delinquency charge
Yeah.
for activities at the group home, and uh, and so that's what got me going in representing you. Because at that time, and even now in Orlando, not all kids get lawyers in foster care, and so how did it change after I started representing you?
Well, I started having a voice. So when I would go to court, I remember you and I would talk very often. The one thing I could bring up that I remember was I was getting abused and a lot of my things stolen in a foster home. And I had let you know, what had been going on before my court case, and I thought nothing was going to happen. And then I believe it was just a short time later, a couple weeks, I went to a better foster home out of nowhere, and I was able to receive a check just for in return of some of the things I had lost. And from then on, I felt like I had more of a bit of trust with you, and I started asking you about other things in regards to what I should do in life and more on a personal level as well. One of those things being when I left foster care or was about to transition out, I remember asking you about my mother, and we had a huge conversation about that. And you let me know the two different sides that that could go. If I went with my mother, what one option of that would look like, and if I didn't, what the other option would look like. And I feel like that was something I needed to hear in general rather than, just having someone be like, go do it. You helped me decide what was more important in that case in general. And that's what gave me that confidence to
Well,
continue doing something great.
and that's really important what you just highlighted. What Because that's what lawyers, different from other people in the process, lawyers for a party, lawyers for a child, do. You just highlighted two important parts to it. The first is that I file motions. In your particular
Right.
circumstance, I actually filed sort of a fun little. It wasn't just a motion; it was actually a whole new legal action. It was a replevin action that not a whole lot of folks know about, but it's a legal proceeding that I can sue somebody for the return of personal property. Unfortunately, you didn't get your stuff back. And it wasn't like you lost your stuff. Your stuff was stolen. And it was
Right.
stolen under the supervision of the foster parents who shouldn't have allowed it to be stolen. And so we filed a replevin action, didn't get your stuff back. But it was kind of fun for me to be able to file something like that, sort of a creative
Right.
legal proceedings. But the second thing that you highlighted is that lawyers, unlike other people, his job is to advocate for what you want after we've counseled you. People
Yeah.
forget that one of our rules as a lawyer is to counsel our clients. to tell you and help you understand your options, and then you choose your option, and then we advocate for that option after you've had some time to counsel it. But that only happens, as you pointed out, when there's a level of trust, because you probably thought I was like everybody else in the foster care system. And so I'm glad we had that opportunity to develop a level of trust. So,
And it's difficult because I realized in that moment, like I thought everyone else was like me, like, oh, well, this is what it's like to have a lawyer. But then I found out, I'm one of the very few lucky people who was able to get a lawyer. And the unfortunate circumstance was I had to get a delinquency charge in order for you to be able to step in and step up as a
yeah.
lawyer. And I always asked, which I suppose you could answer this question, how come more foster youth don't have lawyers to be able to fight and advocate for them?
Well, and the unfortunate thing is that you were a foster child in Florida, and Florida is only one of 13 states. And most of the states around the country, all foster children do get lawyers, but Florida has not decided to take that step. Florida has a system known as CASA that we call the guardian ad litem, rather than lawyers for kids. And they advocate for what they think is best rather than function as a full lawyer for the kid, advocating for what the child, him or herself, want. And so it's really sad that in Florida, that there's very few lawyers for kids. There's a couple counties where there's more, Palm Beach and Broward County and Hillsborough County, a few counties where there's more lawyers for kids. But just bad luck ended up in Orange County in Orlando, where, there was me and a couple other people who were doing the work. So from a broader perspective, what did this mean besides court for you and your future?
I saw one. Yeah, I mean, I was heavily depressed when I was in foster care. I didn't see much of a future. I didn't think that I was going to end up anywhere. And I don't think it's a relationship that a lot of children get to experience, but I mean, if you don't mind me saying, like a family relationship with you. I mean, we have stayed in contact since that day, and you have helped me every step of the way through, with not only the advice that I got legally, but the advice I got for my life. I asked you advice. I think we talked a bit about my job, and I'm doing well now because of that. I feel confident. I feel like I can do things I never thought I was going to be able to do in foster care. And I think that's just such an important change that I didn't have as a kid. I didn't have that role model or that father figure that you have been able to provide for me. And it's something that I can't ever thank you enough for. I can't say how happy I am to have you in my life. And I'm really happy that you're there.
Well, the feeling's mutual. I'm super happy to have you in my life as well. And I'm glad that I've been able to be there and that you've become part of our family, and so happy for you and your future. You've been an extraordinary success, and I look forward to all the future success that you have yet to accomplish.
It's good talking to you.
Yep, likewise.
Bye.